In today's video, I'm going to be working on painting my 1989 F150. It is a mini truck with a 3-foot bed and a roof turbo. And I'm going to be doing it all for about $250 or so. The paint and the clear coat was just over $200. And then I'm figuring about another $50 and Bondo, sandpaper, and I'll probably have to get a spray gun. I might have one. I'll take a look and see. But the color I'm going with is Grabber Blue. And I was just testing it here. It's definitely pretty soft. So definitely have to go with some clear coat. But the truck looks pretty rough. As you can see, I'm going to work on taking the mirrors off. But the whole hood is just rust. A little bit of, that's actually paint still there. Paint, primer, and then rust. As you can see, my custom front bumper down there, I just painted that black. And I'm going to go through, sand down a couple things. Maybe put some tin foil or something over this. And shouldn't be too bad. I do have to take my turbo off. I'm going to take that off video because you probably don't need to see that. This tailgate is a cheap Amazon tailgate, so it's got the thin metal. It's really light, but it's not too bad. Somehow I must have dented it right there. But otherwise it's fine. There's another dent right there. I'll probably just leave the handle black, paint this blue, and then I think I might go black with this rear bumper. I'm not going to get too crazy. Like I said, it's only going to be like $200 to $300 to paint this whole truck. There is these stripes here that I need to try to smooth off the edges on. And this truck did have the chrome molding or whatever it's called on it. So this is going to be a pain. I'll have to try to sand down all this. Not going to worry too much about that. But I mean, like this side of the truck really isn't rusty at all, honestly. It's actually surprising how this side isn't rusty and the other side's pretty well gone. It's really confusing to me, actually. So I'm going to be doing all this in my garage. And, you know, really I need a paint booth, but I'm not going for a great finish here. I just want it to all be one color is basically all that it is. So just going to be cheap, spray on the paint, quick, and just get the job done kind of deal. And not worry too much about what it looks like. Alright, let's get these mirrors off of here. And that's probably going to fall, which is fine. Okay, over to the passenger side. Looks like this pad got stuck on there. It's really stuck on there. See if I can scratch it a little more with the flat tip. There we go. I'm going to try to take this little antenna piece off of here also. Should be just a Phillips and then it'll come out. Okay, and this truck doesn't have a radio, so this is basically just all for looks. I'm just going to push these screws back in for now, and it looks like it'll kind of stay in place. And then I'm going to move over to the windshield wipers. These windshield wipers, it looks like there's some kind of a clip. There we go. Oh, this one's busted. That's not a good sign. Well, that came out like that. Pry it out of there. Looks like it's moving. Oh, I thought it was moving. There we go. Okay, just like that. Ooh, I gotta pull the taillights out. Let's do that. I don't know about your taillights, but these ones are Phillips heads on the outside. And looks like a 7mm, 8mm on the inside. Also, my taillights are going to be a lot easier to unplug because I can just reach back here Since my bed is gutted, I can switch back here and pull them, twist them out. So that's already unplugged. I'm just gonna hit the inside with my 7mm. And just like that. And then it's the same thing on the passenger side, just I have one extra Phillips head down here. This is actually a new taillight on this side. Somebody must have backed into something before I got it. And that's why there's a scrape down the bed and a new taillight. It's still pretty easy to unplug the lights from this side anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I almost forgot, I have to work on getting the grill and headlights out, so let's get those out. Also, my hood got dented. That's strange. Okay, it's really dark in here. Let me grab a couple lights. I did already remove my plastic piece that sits right on top of the grill, and my headlight mount on this side is busted, so the grill's gonna come out pretty easy. This guy's busted off right here. For these headlights, it looks like some 13mm bolts that I don't need to remove on this side because they're broken. And looks like a 13mm on the back side too. So they're actually an 11mm on the back side. I don't know what the ones on the front are. Okay. And just like that, driver's side headlight is out with the blinker. So they're 11mm on the front and the back. I'm gonna hit these ones with a little bit of juice here. I don't know why, but everything on the left side of this truck, the driver's side, is less rusty than the passenger side, which doesn't make sense. I would think it'd be the other way around. One thing I should mention here is clearly my engine bay is gutted pretty good, so it's probably going to be gutted more than yours, which means you'll have to remove, most likely have to remove the coolant reservoir from this side and possibly the battery and battery tray over on that side. Most likely the battery, that's pretty easy to remove anyways, but it's just a lot easier for me to get to these bolts with how gutted everything is here. And looking at the front now, I think we're ready to go. I did scrape off the EFI lettering there. Looks like I'm ready for sanding and Bondo, which is going to be a majority of the time. Okay, I've got my sander here now. Grabbed a couple materials I had laying around, some plastic, found my spray gun, and then I hit Walmart up and got some Bondo and some more sanding pads. And I was doing a little testing right here. Looks like it's whatever pad I have on now is taking away quite a bit of material, so that's great. I do want to look into removing this windshield trim. I just saw a video of someone was like reaching back and pulling a tab towards, towards the center of the windshield, and then you could just pull the clip right out. So I'm gonna try that. And my glass is all full of weld slag, so I don't really care about it, but I do want to not get paint on it. Before I do anything else in my garage and get it all full of dust, I'm gonna throw some plastic over this turbo and basically everything in my box. Just gonna cover that. That way it doesn't get all full of sanding dust, paint, whatever. And then I'm gonna roll the truck outside and I'm gonna try to sand it outside. Alright, let's see if I'm capable of pushing this thing outside. Alright, let's see what kind of damage I can do here. Just gonna try to smooth the whole thing down and then roughen up the surface, that way the paint will stick to it. Originally, I thought I was going to end up sanding this, but it looks like it's going to work better to just remove it because it's kind of like a sticker, one big long sticker stripe all the way down, and I'm going to have to scrape the middle stripe of the three with a razor blade, but it's going to be a lot easier to remove it than it is to sand it down. I started sanding back here, and it's really bumpy. It's going to take a long time, so I think it'll be a lot better to just scrape it off. So I'm going to work on scraping off all the decals first, which will probably take me a couple hours, and then I'll get back to sanding. You know, that brown, you know, back in the day, this would have looked pretty nice. It's got some nice color in it. So you can see, that was the original tan, that's the faded tan, original brown and faded brown. So I mean, this truck would have looked pretty nice if it wasn't faded. Especially with all the two-tone going on here. Would have been a pretty colorful little truck. Alright, I've made quite a bit of progress here now. As you can see, getting some dust build up on the windows. And some bare spots going here. This hood is extremely rusty, so it's going to end up with a rough finish, which I'm okay with. Maybe I'll end up changing it later at some point. But this whole side of the truck is sanded. There's not a spot that's not sanded other than I got to go through and kind of get all the edges. I think that I'm going to start working on trying to get this patched up and get some Bondo going here. I have this entire large rust hole on the passenger side here, and I need to work on getting this cleaned up. So I'm just going to start with trying to smash everything down in so there's nothing sticking out with my hammer. Okay. I'm just gonna push this in. And I'm gonna try to kind of keep a body line here somewhat. It's not gonna look great, but as long as there's one there, I'm not too worried about it. Okay, that's looking not too bad. And now, I need some brake clean. I'm gonna try to get this dust cleaned up off of here. Best I can for now. And then, I'm gonna start welding. So we'll see how this goes. But this kind of has some creases in it. Yeah, I think I'll stop it right about there. Let me go up just a little more. Let's try that right there. And then I'm just gonna roll it down the side so I have a little bit of a body line still. And then press it down on the best I can. Not too bad. On to the next piece. I think I'm going to start with the other side on this one. Maybe go something like that. And I can cut it right here. Try to smooth it out. Okay, and then I'm just gonna peel it over the body line. and just like that, we don't have any more holes. So I'm just gonna finish pressing this down a little more and then hit it with the Bondo. Well, I will say I did not realize this Bondo is gonna be grayish bluish. I've always seen pink Bondo, but the can was like half empty, so I was a little surprised about that. I wasn't expecting to buy a full can and get half a can, but you know, today's economy, I guess that's just how it is. You know, you get a bag of chips and it's 3/4 air, and that's just acceptable nowadays. So hopefully I can get this guy all mixed up before it starts to dry on me. A few times I have done Bondo in the past, I've got air bubbles in it, and I think that's because I'm mixing it wrong, or I'm putting it on wrong, one or the other. But hopefully I can avoid that this time. Okay, let's see what I can get done with this. Yeah, see, I got air bubbles in it again. It's not too bad though. Try to cover up all these edges. This Bondo is hardening really fast. The less sanding I have to do, the better. Okay, it looks pretty choppy because it started drying on me, but I'll just have to sand it all out and see if I need another coat. Most likely I will. I just realized there's a bulge there I need to fill. And I'm going to work on trying to fill this crack a little bit. Had some left over and I threw it there and there, but not enough. And then over on this side I have a dent right here. It's like something landed on the box that I'm trying to fill. And this is a big indent here also. And kind of the same deal. I swiped it in there, had some more, and I tried to add it in and it started drying already. So yeah, that's where we're at. This is where I'm going to leave off for today, and I'll probably back up tomorrow, sanding the stuff down, and then I gotta remove the pinstriping on this side. I've made it over here to the driver's side now, and I just got done pulling the pinstriping off of the front fender, and I'm gonna go ahead and pull the pinstriping off the rest of the truck, cab, and the box. Got my stripes off of there, my upper and lower, but the inside one is so thin that it got all cracked and there's no way I'm going to be able to peel it off. So I've just been using a razor blade and just trying to get the right angle and just drag it down. Seems to kind of be working. And just like that, it's pretty much all off. Just gotta grab the little pieces so you can see how brittle it is. It's just falling right apart. And it should be ready for sanding. Just gonna touch up a couple spots here and there, but I'm gonna work on getting the back of the truck done, and then I'm gonna start sanding some of this Bondo. Now that this Bondo has had a chance to dry, I think we're good to go to see what kind of damage I can do here. I'm gonna hit these guys over on this side real quick too, and then slap on a bunch more Bondo. Well, I'm gonna try to see if I can finish sanding up this Bondo on the passenger side here and on the box behind me, and then I'm gonna jump over to the passenger driver side, and all that paint still needs to get scuffed down, so I'm gonna work on scuffing that side. We got started on this driver's side here, I worked out a couple scratches that were here. There's a dent I need to fill right there. Probably gonna slap some Bondo on that rust spot. I've decided that I'm not gonna put the badges back on, so I have to fill all these little holes on both sides. And then coming around to the front here, I need to do the same thing to the front badge, the EFI badge that was up here. I ended up removing the rear bumper. It is right there, and it looks super open now. So I decided that was going to be worth it. That way I could get around the bottom edge of my bedsides. And then up front here, I've decided that this front bumper needs to come off. So I'm going to work on getting this guy off. It's only 2 bolts. Right here, right there. So it should be pretty easy. Okay, well that was pretty easy. And I'm just gonna stick my bolts back in the bumper for now. Wow, this looks really empty up here. I don't even have much to tape off, honestly. Looks like all my Bondo's hard enough. I'm sitting overnight, so I'm gonna go through, hit all these spots. I basically got everything covered up at this point. Need to get where that badge was there. I'm gonna try to fill that little dent there after I get everything sanded down. Hit these 2 again. Got a little rust up here I gotta hit. And then this whole fender's a mess. I'm just gonna go through and try to smooth it all out, and then hit it with some more Bondo. Everything's sanded, every little bit of surface area, and this is all done. I think I might do a tiny little bit here, and just enough to try to fill in some little holes, little bubbles that popped up when I was sanding. But otherwise, I'm just going to spray off the truck really quick with some pressurized air and pull back into the shop. Well, I've hit the point where I'm done sanding, so I'll walk around the truck really quick, show you guys what kind of progress I made. So you can see it looks pretty rough, as you would expect. I don't think I'm going to leave the doors open. I'm just going to leave them shut all the way and then deal with the consequences of not having it look as great as it could. But I got the hood sanded down. It's kind of a rough finish on here because of how rusty it is. But we're looking good there. Filled a couple little spots with Bondo up here. It's not perfect, but it'll be better than what it was. And it's kind of dark on this side, but kind of the same deal. This fender ended up needing quite a bit of work, and you can see where some of the tape is coming through. But I'm not too worried about it. I can definitely feel a couple spots, but at least there's not going to be a hole in it anymore. And down here there was a big like crease from the trim that kind of like smashed it in. That's a lot better now. And then this guy here is a lot better too. Where they sideswiped something, there was a big gouge through right here. And then, you know, my welds, they're not going to be great. It's not going to be great where I covered up my welds, but it's going to be a lot better than it was, so I'll be happy about that. Turbo's just sitting in here, and I'm going to throw on all my tape. Obviously I got to taper on the windows, the seals. Not going to taper on this, but pretty simple. It should be pretty simple. I just need to taper on the windshield wiper mounts, the windows, door handles, locks, tires. I'm sure I'll end up putting some stuff in here. I don't really want that getting painted blue. And that should be it. It really shouldn't take too long to tape all this off. And then I'm just going to use some brake clean and smooth everything down a little bit more. And try to get all the sanding material off, clean it all up good. Alrighty, I got some trash bags over my tires. Windows are all taped up. Truck should be ready for paint. I'm not gonna worry about this stuff here. Oh, the only thing I do need to do is go through and wipe everything down with my brake clean. And I might put a little bit more coverage over the tires because the trash bags aren't covering it all the way. I also need to do this back window before I forget. And then I'm going to be painting my tailgate over here, and I'll probably just get some paint on the floor, which is fine. So I'm going to start working on my prep. I've just got some Super Tech brake clean and a microfiber. And I'm just going to start wiping everything down. I'm working on mixing my paint here, and it says 8:1, so I'm doing 2.5 ounces, and then I'm going to fill the rest up to 20 with paint. Hopefully that works. Get myself a stir stick here, and this paint feels extremely thin, so I'm not too worried about it not working right. It feels like it's pretty mixed up already. There's a piece of, oh no, the bubbles in this paint look black, so that's interesting. Actually, yeah, I'll probably stir this up a little more just in case it doesn't mix anywhere nearly as good. Okay, I feel a lot better about that. And now see if I can't make a big mess here. It's not going to go well, I can tell you that much right now. Make sure I got my 20 ounce visible. Okay. We got 20 ounces in there. Spilled some paint on my bench, but that's just going to happen. Now I'm going to stir it up. And I got my tailgate flipped over. I'm going to do a couple little test passes on that guy over there. I got my air compressor set at like 35 psi. Seems kind of high to me, but that's what it recommends for the gun, so I'm just going to give that a shot first. This gun is a Walmart special art gun, so I don't have high hopes for it. Okay, that seems doable right there, so I'm going to start hitting this driver's side. Actually, I'm going to hit the passenger side first and get the roof done first. Well, everything in my garage is now covered in a layer of blue, which I kind of expected. For the truck itself, I've got the second coat on, and I think that's all I'm going to do is 2 coats. There are a few spots where some bugs got into it. Right there, right there, right there, on the hood, on the other side. But for now, I think I'm just going to go through, start wet sanding it down. I've got some 1500 grit. I'm going to try to do something a little bit with these areas, but it's not going to look good. But I'm not too worried about it. I think this area can clean up a little bit. There was some weird stuff going on in a few areas here. It almost looks like there was something falling onto this whole area here. Not sure why it's all like there's a bunch of little pieces of dirt in the paint or something there. Kind of all over this top of the bedside. Back of the cab is looking good. The tailgate's looking good. Gotta hit it with some clear. And yeah, this side is a little darker so you can't see too well, but there was a fly stuck in that one on its back. But it's looking okay. I did end up getting some little water spots or grease spots, oil spots, something like that. Kind of all over the truck in different places. But I didn't expect it to turn out perfect. I had high hopes. But it is what it is. There was a bug that got stuck there too, and I think that was between the first and second coat. So that one is kind of painted over, which is fine, I guess. But I got my 1500 grit. I'm just gonna hit it real quick, hit it with the tack cloth, and start getting into the clear coat. Hitting this with 1500 grit is probably the most nerve-wracking part to me, because this paint looks pretty good, and now it looks terrible. 2 seconds into hitting it with the sandpaper. So I really hope this clear coat's gonna turn out good on here. I trust that it's gonna work. So worst case scenario, I'll have to do another coat of base coat. I have my clear coat here now. I've got the truck all sanded down as far as I feel comfortable. And I still need to work on the cab, doing the tack cloth or microfiber cab forward. I got the tailgate all ready to go, so I'm going to do a little test of clear coat on the tailgate before I do anything else. And if that thing bubbles up or does something weird, then I'll know I can't do the truck. I'm mixing this, it says 4-to-1. 4 parts clear to 1 part activator. So I'm gonna go, right now I'm gonna go 5 ounces of activator, medium, whatever the medium stuff is, and then go all the way to 20 with this guy. They should have made the paint can like this because it's way cleaner. And spill paint everywhere, all over the side of the bucket. So that's way better. And then just gonna stir this a little bit here. Got my new paint gun ready here. And I did get a new respirator too. My old respirator got completely plugged with paint. This just looks like water. I'm gonna get my respirator on, dump it in there, and should be good to blast the tailgate. Well, it's been sitting for a little while now. I don't see any bubbling on it anywhere. So I'm gonna go ahead and start painting the truck itself with some clear coat. I'm gonna try to do a light coat first. Try to get it to kind of be a good adhesion. That way when I do my next coat, everything will stick good. It's now been about 9 hours, 10 hours since I've sprayed the clear coat, and I realized I probably should have took the tape off when I was a couple hours into letting the clear coat dry. So I ended up with 2 layers of clear coat and 2 layers of base coat, and that's going to be good enough for me. It feels pretty good right now. Definitely a little tacky still, but I'm going to work on trying to get this tape off of here, and hopefully I can do it without peeling up my paint and scratching the clear coat that is still curing. Okay, not too bad. So you guys can see how it ended up here. Little dot on the bottom left there, and kind of right there in the top left. But I mean, from 10-15 feet away, it's not looking too bad. Decently glossy finish. I definitely need to hit a couple spots here and there with some maybe 1500 or 1000 grit, but I don't know that I really care too much about some of this orange peel. I mean, this is just looking way better than what the truck was originally, so I'm really excited to get the mirrors on this thing, get the tailgate finished up, and see what it looks like. Alright, well, let's pull some more of this plastic off of here, get a feel for how it's looking. And theoretically this piece should come off pretty easily. And I'm just going to kind of set it down there for now. Got quite a bit of overspray on the frame and like the drive shaft and whatnot, but that's okay. This is the most satisfying part. Alright, well there you have it. I do want to paint this little strip here black at some point. And there's a little bit of overspray right here. I'm not sure if you guys can see it from that angle, but not too bad. I should be good to hit this with some paint now, so I've got some water sitting in this gun. I'm going to empty it out, and hopefully it still works. I have my front and rear bumpers and my windshield wipers here, and I'm just going to hit them with some Rust-Oleum Gloss Black. Alright, it's looking pretty good. A couple spots I got to touch up here. And then I'm going to flip over my front bumper and get the side that faces out, because I care a lot more about that. Well, let's start putting this front end together, and the paint is still a little tacky on the front bumper. I only painted that a couple hours ago. And the clear coat has a dry touch to it, but if you kind of hold your thumb into there for a while, it'll make an imprint. So that's got about 24 hours on that. And yeah, I'm just going to start by putting the front bumper on. And then I've got some brand new headlights to go into here. I got to pull the mounting pieces off where that one was busted. Got that side started. Hopefully I can get this side started. And this side looks like it's the driver's side, but there's no chrome on these headlights. The old ones have like the chrome border, and this one has a really small yellow ambient lighting reflector piece and this whole screen is different. It's basically a completely modern style headlight that should bolt right up. And so I got 2 new ones. And there's all these little foam guys on the back side here. Pull those off. And let's go see if it'll fit. So it should go in just like this. It's trying to be very gentle because my paint isn't dry yet. Some of the nuts that hold on these headlights I had sitting on the fenders in here, and they rattled out with all the sanding I was doing. So I picked them up off the ground outside. Okay, let's jump over to the other side here really quick. Hopefully this snaps in a little better than I think it's going to. It does have 2 broken clips. This corner is broken and this corner is broken. So we got kind of the teeter-totter going on here, but it's actually staying in there for now. It looks pretty clean. The grill kind of does make it look a little dirty, but everything else here is new, really. So we're looking clean. Truck overall is looking clean. Yeah. You can see how these gaps turned out here. There's kind of like a slot that goes all the way around the headlight on both sides. But that really just kind of fits in with everything else here. The grill's got a little spacing in it. And then the headlights have some spacing. These aftermarket headlights really did turn out good. And I'm going to move on now to getting the windshield wipers and mirrors on. Let's see if I'm smart enough to be able to figure out how to install a mirror, especially without scratching the truck. So, let's see how, wow, look at that. It's amazing how nice it is when stuff actually works properly. So let's see how it looks. Oh, it's looking clean. I'm so excited. So I need to sit in my driver's seat and set that one up, but I'm gonna jump over and put the one on the driver's side. These mirrors I ordered, I measured to make sure they would be the right size, and they come looking like this, which is a little upsetting to me because now I gotta bend it to make it work. On the passenger side I had already bent that one, but as you can see, this is not even close to being able to work. So just gotta bend it out, and I gotta straighten out these brackets too. Hopefully I can start the top first and then get the bottom in. Both mirrors are done and looking good. Windshield wipers are on. I'm gonna go get the trim for the windshield. Alright, this stuff is extremely delicate, so I'm gonna have to be very gentle. Just kind of connecting the pieces here, and then hopefully I can just slide it in to the original place. I think I need to start the bottom first and then go around the top and the edges. Somehow I ended up with the big gap right there, but that's okay. The trim around the windshield's on and it looks good. Now I think I'm ready to get this turbo on, which should be really easy. Also, a couple of hose clamps and, well, a couple of V-band clamps and a couple bolts. Okay, getting closer, but this feed line is not happy. Okay, there we go. Now I'm on the right side. Okay, I feel good about that. Now I'm gonna work on getting these bolts up top and mount the turbo on. Alrighty, let's see if I can get this guy put on here now. There's a little bit of dust down in my intake tube here. It's a little concerning. I need to start getting my rear bumper put on here now. It got kind of dirty from all the rain. It was sitting out in the rain after I painted it, but that was about a day after I painted it that it started raining. So it's all dry now and it's ready to go on. And I just got 4 bolts I need to put on. The last thing I believe I have left to do is install this tailgate, which my clear coat I put on yesterday, so it's still curing with the rest of the truck, but it's enough that I'm willing to risk getting some fingerprints in it. And I'm really excited. Hopefully it goes on well and it looks great. And now for the finishing touch, closing the tailgate. And just like that, I'm all done. Alright, I'm not gonna lie, this looks pretty clean back here. There's definitely some overspray I need to take care of on this top edge here that's bothering me. But I can't complain too much. This tailgate itself looks really good. Kind of show you guys what we're looking like here. It's starting to get a layer of dust on it just from sitting, but it's looking really good. The new headlights in it and the fresh paint all over everything. All my trim is in. Yeah, it's looking really good. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do about all this overspray I got on everything here. I'm kind of hoping it'll just come off with the power washer and some brake clean. But luckily nothing up there has overspray on it, so you really won't see much of the overspray. This rear bumper actually doesn't look too bad, just with a quick no prep rattle can gloss black. A little dent right there I didn't clean up either, but it's fine. This tailgate looks really good, and that's kind of what we're looking at here from the rear. And like I said, I'll probably try to buff some of this clear coat that ended up a little fuzzy on the top here. See if I can get you guys an angle of that. Yeah, the rest of everything looks pretty good. There's barely any kind of orange peel or anything. Like right here, there's none. There's a couple little spots here and there. Now that I got it rolled outside, you guys can get a better look at it. See how well I did. Definitely some oil spots in the paint here and there. But all in all, not too bad. Still a little bit of the fuzz orange peel on the top of this tailgate. But the bumper turned out okay back here. Got a couple little runs, but not worried about the bumper at all. And there you have it. So really the only thing that doesn't look good are the rims, and the windshield and windows are kind of scratched from all my welding slag. And then if you get up close, the interior is brown and ugly. Now that I got the truck in the sun, you can definitely see where I got some bugs in the paint and where I did some Bondo work here. You can see I didn't sand this down quite as well as I should have. And then where my badges were, it just looks a little bit wavy. It's really hard to tell on camera. But the whole truck has just a little bit of the orange peel to it, but it's kind of a smooth orange peel, so I'm not too worried about that. So that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Thanks for sticking around and watching to the end, and I'll see you on the next one.